Greetings. Little snippet, little message. Give honor to Source, to the Most High, to the Creator. All things that are happening in this moment, so forth. Give honor, give gratitude to what's all there is and what's going on, what's happening, what's up. We speak all different languages. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Konnichiwa. Yeah. But let me just jump right into this, dive right into the depths. Almost sound like my podcast, but I'm just gonna dive right into it. So, just want to let you know you beat the odds. Every day you get up, you beat the odds. Every day you get up, you are beating the odds. You've already defeated the odds. You've already, I wanted to use the word conquer, but there is victory in conquering your inner conflict or war. But what I'm speaking about has a lot to do with breaking generational curses and speaking from my experience and a little transparency moment or just honest moment about what's unfolding in my life and has been unfolding. One of the greatest things that I could ever do was take accountability for my own actions, my own emotions, my role in how my life has came to be and is unfolding currently. And that's one of the most beautiful things that I can ever share with anyone, is that acceptance is a part of taking accountability. One of the most challenging things we can do not want to accept in this human experience or as a human being is really that deep acceptance that people are who they are, and they're going to be who they are, and you cannot change them. No matter how loud, no matter how softly, no matter how many letters, no matter how angry, no matter how many outbursts, no matter how much you help or support in any way, they are going to be who they are. And that right there is challenging. And you know, what brings it full circle for me is how, even when I look at kids and when I even look at some adults or wounded adults who, you know, inner child is pretty much wounded, and it really just brings awareness to how like the importance of giving yourself grace and giving other people grace, because they're not no one's willing to change unless they have the courage to change and face their fears. We cannot make them face their fears. We cannot make anyone face their shame or guilt. And you know, and that has been one of my most challenging things when it comes to like family members, whether it's caregivers or whatever. It's been one of my most challenging experiences, is trying to accept the fact of, you know, that they may not ever change. And you know, it's a grieving process over there, because either you hold yourself back or feel like you're going to be stuck, but you're not stuck. Your mental could be clouded. There's other things in your life that could, you know, be perceived as you're stuck. But in reality, once you accept that you are the author and the main character of your storyline, then you will realize that you're in the driver's seat, that you get to change, and you get to change for the better. I've noticed on my path, you know, where I'm at currently, stepping back out into the, what some may call the real world, I've just noticed like how the Most High will put you in a place where you will see how, you know, those that are familiar with like being in hermit mode, you will see how that healing that you've done, or those generational curses that you've broken or let go of in regards into your lineage, and facing certain things in regards to where you see people who are caregivers who were afraid to, and just, no longer resonating when it comes to certain family members or siblings or just anything. It's not that you don't love people, it's not that you don't love, I was telling someone, and I was told, not always, but I was told that just because you love someone doesn't mean they're good for you. And that's just going back to, like, all fruit isn't good fruit, and all fruit doesn't prosper, and all trees as well. So, I've just realized, like, again, going back into the fact of having been in this mode, like, months of unlearning, relearning my own ways, my own childhood traumas, my own generational curses that have followed me and within the lineage. And again, like a transparency moment, like I've been going through the motions, bro. I've been going through a lot of emotional ups and downs, roller coasters. As I've spoken about before, trying to be something you've never seen, trying to become something you never had, and that's in so many different levels and versions. It's not just being a father. You're talking about just simply being yourself, especially if you're not around people who know how to be themselves. So you're trying to be something that you've never seen. If you've been around, most of us have been around people who don't even know how to be themselves or be authentic and walk in integrity. So a lot of those hermit modes, or a lot of those places where we are put in a position where we are forced to see ourselves, and we are forced to uphold integrity and authenticity no matter how the circumstances may unfold. And that's even through how things may change mentally, emotionally, financially, housing, a lot of things that come to really shape and reshape our reality in our inner world and outer world. Reconstruct, revitalize, review. And that is a constant thing in life. You will always go through these motions. Kids go through it. I see my daughter go through it. I mentioned that I'm having a son now. Her adjustment to that, and it brings even more awareness to, like, wow, she's not, her accepting and embracing not just her brother, but accepting, like, how her world is different now, because mom and dad, or just her getting or receiving said attention isn't going to be the same as it was before. And it's wild. And then even again, from me being out and doing what I'm doing now, it just shows, like, the integrity again, like, of sacrificing the bigger picture. And I think that's something, the most biggest thing that, again, I had to be challenged with, even having a tribe, even building said, using the term family, I don't like using it, but just seeing the bigger picture outside of your own selfish attachment to your kids, to your partner, to the world, or to anyone else, and seeing the bigger picture on being a legacy builder, or being a bridge for more healthier boundaries, a healthier approach, instilling, integrity, principles, and morals. Because again, the world never showed us these things. From my experience, like I said, transparency moment, I never seen this. I never had it. So it's like a day-to-day challenge to unlearn, to give myself grace, because I'm not perfect at all through it. Give myself grace through it all, and realize, like, I have to be the best version of me. And that's even with not even knowing how to be the best father. But I'm still being the best father, because the version of me is being the best father I know, even though I never seen it or had it. my partner showed something to me the other day, like this post about how it said, man, how could let me see if I can recall this. It said, I think it said, like, be open to, like, the father and mother that you know, be open to, how could I say this? Be open to people loving you, basically like coming in and loving you, whether you didn't have a mother and father or family members or, you know, whatever, allowing and being open to people coming to replacing that in a healthy way. You know, even though we didn't get things when we were younger, that's one of my biggest challenges as well, of breaking that generational curse, where I can see how so many people were in survival mode, and it's allowing people to come and be that father figure, be that mother figure, be that family member, but in a more healthy way, in a healthier approach, because that energy shows up that way. It doesn't always got to be the mother, your mother and father, or even from your family. That's one of the biggest things I had to accept upon my journey. Is like, as I start to really face a lot of things internally when it comes to my impulsiveness, my anger, my suppressed emotions, how much I've repressed the memories, you know, repressed memories that come up from childhood, from adulthood, from things that I've done that are not okay, me hurting people, me being hurt. It's so many things around it to where accepting it and then being able to make peace with it. That means no matter what people can come and say and do, but at the same moment, I see the importance and how vital it is to protect my peace in all of it. And that's one of the most important things I realize most people are afraid to obtain. They want it, but do they feel worthy of it? Do you feel worthy of peace? And that's the biggest thing I realized with with some people that I know, that choosing or refuse to choose a whole different lifestyle. And that's even in relationships and so forth. And most importantly, a relationship with yourself. That is so vital, because when you're talking about protecting your peace, you're talking about choosing not to engage in said argument, or, you know, it's not to say be conflict avoidant, but it's choosing that, you know what, I won the war by walking away. I won the war, and that's what I'm going to go into what I'm about to, this other subject. It's like I won the war by choosing to be better than I was yesterday. And that's why I say the opposition, beating your odds, you know, your opponents, the people the opposition that comes up against you. And that's the beauty of you realizing, like, choosing your peace is choosing to walk away from that community, that environment. Choosing peace is, again, to go within yourself and find that peace. Find what is bothering you. Find why you're not having that mental clarity, that, you know, what's going on in your heart, what you're carrying in your heart from what you've experienced in the past, what your mother and what you inherited from your mother and her father through your lineage. Like, finding that peace within yourself to realize, like, man, if I came to do it differently, then it's not going to look like anything my mother and father or anyone else in my family are doing. And that can be one of the most biggest challenges for a lot of us to accept, because we want so much for them to be a part of our lives. We want them to be a part of our leveling up, or, you know, what we're experiencing. But the underlining of it all, or the deep part of it all, is that things that you haven't been come to accept and made peace with, they haven't, and they probably won't ever. And that's another big thing, is that they probably won't ever choose a change, and you are the guiding light. Your energy, you naturally, it can be intimidating to people. It can be very triggering for them, and so that can feel very lonely at times. That can feel very You know, when you're being called, you have a higher calling or power to go into solitude, when there are going to be moments you have to walk away. You don't want to, but you need to. And that's the thing about a need and a want. We don't want to do a lot of things, but for the evolutionary purpose or for the bigger picture, we need to step outside of our comfort zone, because no one else, we know firsthand no one else is going to do it. This is leading me into why I'm so grateful for realizing how the Most High has given me grace and how much grace I've given myself and learning to give myself and others. Because I'm sitting here like, bro, there were times where I wanted to save people from their realities, their karma, their lessons. And when I did, what ended up happening? I end up the one either being hurt, being criticized, or just, again, seeing how much energy I put towards something that did not. I was able to see the lesson in it all, again, from growing and from expanding my awareness, but I also realized like how much protecting my peace is when you're trying to intervene or interrupt someone's lesson that they need to learn, that they came here to learn. And so, you know, transparency moment, man, it's wild that, you know, years ago, you know, when I was 20, 30 years ago, I probably would have never thought that I would be a family man or a tribal man, or just who I am. And I'm not just saying, yeah, I could say in a doubtful way, but it was just so much to where the influences that I had around my life, the people, the environment, no empowerment, no encouragement, rarely that was consistent. And so for me now, I'm like, man, sometimes I'm in disbelief. Sometimes I cry, and, you know, and then sometimes I cry tears of joy. There's pain and joy in it. And I feel like it's kind of like one and the same. And so with that, I tell myself like, yo, like, you know, I had a moment where I had a cousin, you know, as much as I would want him to be here, you know, he transitioned in the flesh. And I feel like a lot of that was a part of how I really had to dig within myself, because there's a lot of us, you know, as fathers or men who really don't get that genuine support when it comes to our mental health and support financially, without it coming with so many burdens of, or carrying the loads of everyone else, but really, you know, and forgetting about ourselves. And that's why I'm here to change that norm and bring awareness to the fact of like how important it is for us as men to take care of our mental health, and encouraging young men when I come across their path and reminding them like, bro, you know, like, love yourself, take care of yourself, you know, planting those seeds, because, you know, the importance of it is like now having a son, a lot of stuff comes full circle to where when I'm saying beating the odds, like when everything seems like it's stacked up against you, there are things I've done where I felt like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how I got out of it. Not even just escaped it, but just the fact of like, I had to go through it. I had to experience it. That's why I don't have no shame and guilt in when I told you guys how I grew up in an abusive home, how I recycled the abuse because of not knowing the importance of how important how vital it was to express my emotions. Even not even trusting women so much because of what I went through in my childhood with women. What else? You know, coming to that awareness how much I was hurting inside and then projecting onto others that anger, that suppressed anger and emotions, those repressed memories of the betrayals, that backstabbing, you know, all those things that, again, that I carried and didn't have no guidance on how to express it, how to transmute it. And then I realized, like, again, the purpose and calling that I knew that was coming from the inside of the house or within me. I realized that by the grace of the Most High, like, I'm able to talk about it right now. And that's why it's so important to be honest and transparent about letting people know, like, look, we all have two sides. And it ain't even just two sides. It's like we all have went through something. And there's no need to feel shame and guilt because let me get this out. It's because you the only one that can make peace with it. What's that saying goes, like, what they say, my grandma used to say, if he brought you to it, he can bring you through it. And that's the saying, like, it's like a storm. You go through a storm. We all have storms in life, but that storm doesn't stay forever. And can you be able to weather the storm and be able to see, you know, and that storm can represent people in your life. That storm can represent things where, you know, you don't have the best environment. You don't have the best, you know, the teachers, or you didn't have a lot of shit. And that's, in all honesty, I didn't have a lot of whatever. And that's what I realized that I had to change. I had to change about myself. I could no longer make excuses. And I had to fucking dig deep. I really had to dig deep on a lot of things because no one else is really going to do it for me, man. Y'all hearing it from me. No one else is going to do it for me. And that's why I don't feel no type of shame or guilt around what it is I'm experiencing. Telling people, like, you know, like, be grateful, have gratitude for where you are and so forth, because when I talk about beating the odds, I know people probably like, oh, I hear this story all the time. Nah, I'm talking about the fact of, like, every day when you get up, it's beating the odds, because you're choosing not to be that same woman or man that you were, you know, the day before. That's the beauty in becoming better at what you're doing. That's the beauty in choosing to be better for your tribe, for your family, for the future generations. And no one, you know, around you, unless it's, you know, your partner or someone who really is, you know, on the same path as you, or, you know, really understands to the depths of, like, yo, you know what? I'm not just doing this for no reason. Like right now, you know, it's a lot. I mean, I might as well put it in the video. I do not drink, what do they say, sink water and stuff. Like, I'm really out here filling up jugs, spring water. But again, going back to what I was saying, that is too hot. Y'all give me a moment. Probably just need to. Oh. Like, no one will know the depths of what you really go through but you. And what they say, you know, not what they say, but no one will really, if you want to use God or use that term or whatever, no one will never know the depths of what you go through but you and the Creator. That's just real. That's one thing I had to accept. That's things even with my partner and so forth. Even with my kids, like, no one would really know the depths. Like, we have a connection, but no one would really, I don't care, know the depths of truly what you really internalize until you talk about it. And you can talk about it all you want to, but no one, I'm telling y'all, I don't know who this for, no one will truly know the depths of, like, who you really are and what you have had to do to get to where you are. No one will really know the depths of that. And that's the thing you also have to be at peace with, because even as a man, certain decisions and certain things you have to make, women and men, but just, I talk about, like, I'm speaking from a man perspective, but I'm also, again, expressing to people, like, how, when it comes to your mothers, when it comes to your sons, again, we master logic. We're gonna process things. I was telling one of my I don't even like to use these terms, like friends, just someone I was talking to, like, expressing to her about how just having a son as a mother is like different, but I'm able to see it from my lens, like seeing like if your son is a teenager, 20s or whatever. Again, how we process things from our mothers, you're coming from an emotional place. It's not that we don't have emotion, but when it comes to a young man, we as men, we're assertive through our actions. So that's saying like a lot of things are going to show up differently through our actions. Like, for instance, if we're like bothered or hurt through some things, we may show it differently than what you may do. You may feel it. We may feel it, but depending on what type of man or what type of influence that we have seen growing up, then we may demonstrate that similar behavior. So for one, what type of man have you had around your son? Or for women, if you didn't have a man around, so that little boy is pretty much going to be seeking, or this is where you have him going out into trying to find that brotherhood in that gang, or even in football and basketball, they're trying to find that brotherhood or some type of sense of identity in that brotherhood or in that sports or in anything. They're trying to find that. They're trying to seek that, because if they don't have it at home, this is why that's the first option for a lot of kids is sports. But also what is forgotten about is the emotional part. Depending on what that mother has went through, and if she's not healthy and stuff, most likely his anger is going to be demonstrated in those sports, or he's going to be impulsive. He's not going to be really secure. And so I can go on and on about said things like this, because now that I'm given this platform and these places to speak about this is where the healing is happening for us. It's because a lot of mothers don't know, and a lot of men don't know too what they're going through. So I'm speaking from both experiences. Now coming full circle, I realize like the Most High will put you in positions where, you have to have that integrity. It will force you to have integrity. Okay, I'm going to put you in this position where you may be the only person that are spiritual or see yourself as spiritual. So I'm going to put you in this Christian base or, environment or place to where it's not to say everybody believes in that, but that's the atmosphere. Now, can you have integrity? Can you stand in your truth and still uphold your morals and principles when it comes to you being who you are? And see, that's how the Most High will put you in position where you still got to be a beacon of light. You still got to walk in integrity, no matter if the world is against you. No matter if, if you get an opportunity to do something and now everybody feels like, well, how did he get there? Or how did she get there? She's not worthy of that. But can you still have integrity? Can you still be yourself? And what I tell you right now, I'm going to give you a gem right now. I'm going to tell you exactly what, it ain't even why they mad. I'm going to tell you exactly why the powers that were, speaking from a spiritual warfare aspect, or speaking from life, some real shit. You're returning to your essence. You're returning to something that most of the world is afraid to do. I'm talking about on a deeper level where most people are afraid to dive into, to go within themselves. And when I say return to your essence, it's like when you first came into this world, you were connected to your essence. You and the Most High, the Creator, you had a connection that your mother and nobody else. That's why kids come in such at a high frequency or high vibration. Those that know that I'm talking about on that level, they come in such a place to where you can't tell them nothing. They're the most authentic. They're the most blunt. They're the most unapologetic. And when you look at the fucking world, when you look at what's going on right now, is that this is what people are afraid to be. This is what people are afraid to be, and this is why they're so sensitive and so attached, so physically attached, and don't realize that the world is returning and balancing out spiritually. Y'all so physically attached to shit Not realizing, like, when a child, before they're taught anything, they have no attachment to nothing. No attachment to this world. They don't even know what death is. Yeah, let's go deep. Kids don't know what death is. Before you give them that fucking religion about this said heaven or hell, that's our programming. They don't know. They're taught structured religion. They're not, I don't care what religion it is, because above all religion is truth. Above all religion, no matter what you say, truth is the highest vibration. And that's what kids come in. That's what that authenticity is. They come in truth. And what we do, we don't fucked it all up. This world has fucked it all up, and that's what's balancing out. Everybody wants to tell these kids the truth about who they are, what they have, and if they're not this, they're not successful. That's not the truth. That's your fucking truth. That's not the truth from them, because they come from something higher. We all do. And that's why the Most High will put said people as myself and other people who are coming online and become aware. Oh, he crazy. Oh, you can say whatever it is the fuck about me, but let me tell you something. You can't bring the truth to me, because I know the truth. I am the truth. I live it. And the best thing I can ever do is be myself. And ain't nobody can come tell me to be me better than me. Nobody. My mama tried to do it. My dad. But even with that, say you didn't have a mother and father that was, the truth of what they didn't give you is to remind you that you are a divine spark. That's the truth that they didn't remind you of when you were younger. No, some of them, due to their, whatever their upbringing, it's not necessarily their fault, but what they inherited was, again, a mother and father that didn't care, that didn't remind them of their importance of how vital they are. And some of us are here to be a bridge. That's what legacy is. It's beyond this physical shit that you can obtain. I remind my daughter and my son, even when he's small, you are a divine creation. You're beautiful. You're loved. You're lovable, and so forth. And daddy and mama, especially, I'm not perfect because I'm learning. I'm unlearning shit. I'm unlearning the fact of, I've had to unlearn the fact of, I thought abuse was okay. I thought being abused was okay. And then through that process, suppressing it, repressing those memories, angry, knowing deep down in my essence, in my soul, that wasn't cool. Knowing that wasn't. So with that, I'm like, who am I really? It'll make you question yourself. Who am I really? Who am I trying to convince myself to be in this world? What are my own belief systems outside of my mother and what the world has told me? What is y'all don't even ask yourself, what is your belief system? What is your belief system outside of what the world has told you to be? Because I feel like the greatest thing that I can ever do is not ever tell my kids that they should believe in everything that I say. That they should take everything I say to be true. Nah, because the truth is, and most people, I don't give a fuck if y'all agree with it or not, they already know what they came here to do. And once we sit here try to think that we can change that, just pay attention. Y'all not, this is how disconnected people are from themselves. Y'all think y'all really know to tell these kids, like, we're a guide for them. We're a guide. What does a guide do? A guide don't direct everything you do. A guide, in a way, it's like, you know, a tour guide, for instance. That's how the Most High is in our life. We're just a tour guide for said people. We're a tour guide. I'm gonna give y'all that analogy. You're a tour guide for your kids. Hey, come down here. I'm gonna tell you about this thing called life. Look at this. This is a tree, or this is this. Okay, that is a rock. If you go on that edge, we do not need to go right there, because a possibility of this can happen. The consequences of that. That's what we are here to do, to guide in the best way we know how, because we don't have all the answers. I don't have all the answers, because we used to look to these very people who we assumed that had all the answers. In reality, we started to realize this motherfucker don't even know who they are, so what do they really know? Again, what are your beliefs on life? What is your core values? Are the people around you upholding integrity, morals, and principles that would sustain you through life? Are these things are with longevity? Are you even around said women or men when it comes to, I'm talking about your well-being. I'm talking about your well-being of life. Are they upholding things like that? Before you go just thinking that everybody's just okay with how you live and how you, no, do they really reflect where you're going? And again, we grew up in a fucking society, man, where we grew up around caregivers and shit that exposes us so much so young, and now here we are paying for it. Here we are clearing the fucking debt, karmic debt for that shit. Here we are, a lot of us now clearing karma. That's why I speak this shit like about this, because I know personally. If I don't, it's like I speak it to clear the air. This is my stage right now. This is my stage. This is how I look at my life. I'm on the stage right now, and I'm standing up here, and I just want to tell the world, like, I don't give a fuck how y'all perceive me. I don't give a fuck. You can judge me because that's naturally what we have done and will do. And don't see the bigger picture, how we all are a part of something that's called the oneness of all this shit. Ain't nobody got it all together. I don't care what's been portrayed. Ain't nobody got it all together, man. Nobody. And the funny thing is that that's the biggest illusion, is that we think that everyone got it all together, and then a lot of us have this deep jealousy, envy, or we want this and want that. But do you need peace rather than you think you wanting that lifestyle of somebody else? These kids are innocent, and at a point in time, we were innocent as well, and we still are innocent in the essence of the Most High. Like in the idea of the Most High, deep down in our essence, we just have been corrupted. There is no other way to put it. We have been corrupted, and we have corrupted the kids, and it's just like water that becomes tainted. For instance, it's just like spring water, something that's coming from a tree. Look at that. Look how amazing that is. Someone constructed this, and so that the water, you're talking about water that is pure, not tampered with. But again, even with life, you talking about, look at city water, and then you look at water like this. It's completely different. That's how I look at people. That's why I don't even judge them, because it's like, when you go to the city, boy, it's going to be completely different. You know why it's chaos and stuff in the city? Because it's all centered around control and ego. Control how kids think. Control how they move. Control how people are fed and how they eat. Control. And if you thinking shit ain't returning back, the balance is not returning, it's falling. Because it's supposed to be like this. That's why humans, or whatever you want to call it, humanity, are at odds now. It's because everybody so selfishly, not everybody, but people want stuff just for themselves. They fear a lot of stuff is pushed so people can quick to divide, and I'm with this. Like, this shit's so ignorant. I look like this, so we all, like, I was talking to someone, it's like the first thing they talk about is like, y'all stop with this trying to put people that look this color, if you want to call it black. You cannot categorize and put everybody in there. I be staying away from that. Even when people be talking about white, I be like, bro, I don't want to talk about stuff like that. That is not my world. I don't want to. When we get in certain subjects, certain things where I will discuss and use that to relate, because some people can relate, but that doesn't mean that's my world. I be quick to object to that and tell people, like, look, bro, no, I don't want to. You're not finna classify me as that, because that's the old world narrative, where it's so centered around dividing people. Well, all this slavery, all this other shit. I don't want to hear about that stuff, because I didn't experience that. I'm here to do it differently. I'm not raising my kids on that mindset of survival, of believing, like, just because, like, That doesn't mean I don't give them knowledge and, see how far they've come. Being a bridge is realizing this is what your father experienced. So I'm going to tell you about this. So then when you move forward and realize like, hey, I'm bringing awareness to the fact of like, now you don't have to live like this. You're not here to live like this. And again, this is where a lot of people shy away from because they're so afraid to talk about it. And you don't realize how I be having some of the most uncomfortable conversations with people that don't look like me, who do look like me. And you just never know how that conversation will trigger them, make them face some things, and years long down the line, they may come back and y'all may be meant to build something better together or expand on what you're doing. We really in them moments where it's really people being left behind. It's just what it is. When you're called to elevate and evolve, it don't matter who it is. Family, friends, anybody, spouse, whatever. You are called to elevate higher for said reasons because your calling is bigger than that relationship. That relationship with yourself and your kids, the bigger picture. This is for a lot of you. You will be called to do things that nobody has ever accomplished or will have the courage to do in your lineage. And the beautiful thing is that you will be, it's not even about being remembered. It's that you will be a memory, a beautiful memory, or I don't even like to say lasting, but, or well, you can say that, a lasting memory or something that, a spark in the midst of it seemed like a fucking apocalypse or the world ending. You will be that spark that illuminated the world in these dark moments. And you're going to let someone come along and try to tell you that you shouldn't do that? After all you went through? After all you had to get through? In the storms that no one knew but you and Source, the Most High, God, whatever you want to call it? No one knew the depths of that but you. And no one will. And so that's why, that's the beauty of moving forward and having the courage to realize that as you return to your essence, you'll see how unapologetically, how beautiful and blissful life can really be because you deserve that. You are worthy of that peace. You are worthy of living an abundant lifestyle, however that looks. It don't gotta look like the world say. It says be in the world, not of it. That means you can't do something completely different than how the world perceives it and how it even looks. And that's why, again, going back to beating the odds, I'm going to finish this up. Going back to beating the odds has a lot to do with the fact of like, man, if you asked me years ago, like this is where I would have been doing this, I was like, whoa. But I'm grateful because I could have stayed down in a lot of stuff. I could have chose other routes, but I told myself like, no, I love me now. And I won't ever stop loving me. And that's something that I will instill in my son and my kids is that, yes, mommy and daddy are a guide or other people will come along your path, but don't you ever, ever let someone come tell you that you are not valuable in this, not even just in this world, but the love, your first and last love is for you. The awareness around who you are before mom and dad told you anything about who you are. A lot of us as caregivers now, as we return to the essence of who we are, we'll see the importance of what that inner child, that inner essence really truly means. And it's to remind ourselves that we are just as valuable as everything around us, but just as valuable inside as well. We don't have to convince the world that we are valuable and worthy of breathing, existing, or just life in itself. I don't need the world can't determine my value. Society, fuck the government about trying to determine my value as someone that's darker. That's not where my value lies. Because it's beyond skin. Can't nobody, no politician, no nothing, my mama, nobody can come along and tell me my value. And that ain't got shit to do with money or finance, anything. No one. And that's the thing we are supposed to be a bridge for. That's returning here. Is that that the importance of what is cosmically returning here is the importance of when humanity accepts the fact of like your value to the universe or to the cosmos has nothing to do with what you obtain here. Nothing at all. And that's not judging someone's success. Again, success is different in the eyes of everyone. It's all perspective. It's all perception. My son little right now, and everything's gonna change. His perspective on life, he probably see me as a giant towering over him. Same thing with our kids. They see us differently. Their world is different. This is where the issue has lied. Again, I had to beat the odds by realizing like the beliefs that I grew up on with other people and so forth, whether religiously, whether governmentally, whatever it is, environmentally, anything, it did not reflect what the Most High has placed upon my life or within me. I don't have to agree with anything in this world. Neither do you. I don't have to accept what you accept. I don't have to feel what you feel. And I'm okay with that. That's what being at peace is that you're at peace no matter what the fuck the world could, whatever happens right now, we know that everything is beyond my control. I can only focus on what I'm doing here presently, sharing, speaking. And then even after this, none of y'all know what's going on in my world. No one. No one knows the responsibility that I had to obtain to even just be at peace with what is going on and what I had to go through throughout the years. Throughout the years of not realizing, like, I didn't know where I was going to live. I didn't know where I was going to stay, where I was going to eat. Even if I was going to even have a relationship with certain people, how that was going to affect my life financially, emotionally, mentally. I had that's a daily thing to become at peace with that thing. Accepting that. And again, it's like the beauty of all of this is seeing that how much we have been so confused on believing like the world's beliefs on how we supposed to be. Ain't that fucking wild, bro? It's like, it's so amazing because now it's like, especially to my audience, no matter what shade you are, your beliefs are not to accept. Ask yourself why. For one, I'm gonna use my experience. If I accepted and believed, and not just say that it didn't affect me younger, but if I accepted and believed how the world saw darker men and just took on that narrative of like, oh, this is how they all are and so forth. If I didn't challenge that norm or go against that, it's not to say certain things, again, there isn't truth to what has happened. I'm speaking about the fact of like, you cannot put me and categorize me with all men or just say that, oh, we're just violent or we're just this and not see the polarity into why people are who they are mentally, emotionally, what's really going on with them. And then I'm not going to be that type of person that sit back and attack those men just because they look like me and so forth. No, my deeper awareness of myself is really like, what's really going on with them? Why are they going through that? Because I'm able to see the inner child and the little boy in me is able to see like there's something going on with him deeper than what is on the surface. So it's natural to me to challenge that bullshit norm around like, oh, all darker men are like this. Every day I live it. When I'm going wherever I'm going and people just assume like, oh, he has tattoos, his hair's like this, oh, he's this, he drives this, he lives here, da 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 da. And boy, oh boy, oh boy. It don't matter how much I feel like I've been wrong, but still the integrity to still do right or still do not do what has been done to me. And then, I've talked about that in the video. That's what's feared the most for a lot of people, is like that divine retribution, is that people fear that you'll do to them what was done to you. And that goes both ways. That's universal law. And so, again, you don't have to do that. You don't have to be like people. Sometimes that would have shocked them the most, is when you actually move on in life and you choose your peace and be like, you know what, I don't give a fuck. Because not giving a fuck can be in many ways. You can not care about something and being at peace with it and just simply moving on with your life. Or sometimes it calls for a little conflict in a way of like letting people know, setting them straight when it comes to healthy boundaries. But there's so many ways you can do it. My way through my experience is that when I reflect on my whole life and just memories and everything, I realize like, wow, I'm grateful that I had the courage to just move on, and still do. Giving myself the grace to move on, giving myself the grace to accept, like, you know what, this no longer serves me. I'm okay with that. Will I see people? Yeah, I'll see them eventually. But I'm still going to be reminded, like, how, because those memories still can come up. That's what repressed memories are. That don't mean it just goes away. No, when you meet people or reconnect, sometimes it's just to remind you how far you come. And then even when you can choose, when you're triggered by whatever memory it is, and be like, oh, you can give them grace. And you can just simply move on. You don't have to do what they did. That's one of my lessons. Like I said, I've been treated certain ways, and it's not all about, because I played a role in a lot of stuff, but it's just the growth as a man is like, I don't got to do what you did. I don't got to do what you did. You might have treated me like you hated me, this country and so forth, how y'all displayed darker people and just men in itself. Even some of our women, like I hold people accountable, even some of our women where we felt like, and I was telling someone this, I said, and I'm going to just use like this as an analogy or whatever. Just as a darker man, a lot of y'all would never know how this world has, or just how this country, for those of my audience that's overseas and around the world, I bring you into the world because a lot of you don't know. And I'm not mad at you for not knowing, but a lot of men are. A lot of people are mad because it's like they feel like, man, y'all don't know how we've been treated. Look at the media. Look how they portray us. Look how they portray me as a darker man. And I don't use it as a stepping stool. I don't use it as an ego thing or ego stroke. I use it, I'm speaking from the fact of like, you don't know. And I'm not mad, but it's to like express to you that before you have anger and judgment for me, why can't you have the same grace that God or the Most High has given you? And I feel like that's a lot of people programming. They have a lot of programming around how people are, but never sit down with them. Never. That's that conflict avoidance. They really have this fear of like, not dealing with people simply because they look a certain way. Not dealing with people because they don't have the same religious belief. Not dealing with people because they don't have the same tax bracket, financial status, so forth and so forth. And it's like, what really is success? What really, like, what does that really matter? And, I was telling someone, I said, you will never know what it is to be a darker man in said countries or in environments where you still have sundown towns, where, if you don't know, research what sundown towns are. You're talking about a country that is built on certain things when you're talking about hatred, self-hatred of other people, whether you want to use the term racism or not. You have people who have built so-called, if you want to call it wealth, if you want to call it, they have so-called prosper. That's the illusion. They feel like they built wealth from hatred. You remove all these sports, if you move a lot of stuff, and you see the underlining of that shit, and you really see the depths of it, folks really don't care. They really don't give a, they don't really care to the depths of, for you, bro. They care about how much money they can make from you, bro. Sis, yeah. Build your own platform. Build your own thing when it really comes in a sense of like how it celebrates all cultures and creeds. Where it honors who you are. Where it actually, you know, you have a organization or a place that actually empowers your well-being. Don't just leave you hanging after an injury. Easily replaces you. Yeah, I'm an athlete. I know. I've seen the politics. I know about all of it. So again, we can keep fooling ourselves or thinking, but no, it's being brought. Everything in the dark has been brought to the light. I don't care where you are, your status. Because again, a lot of your programs, a lot of what you've experienced has a lot to do with what is the root of that shit? What is the core beliefs and or morals and principles that that corporation business stands upon? What is the root of who that CEO people, what is it rooted in? Okay then. All right then. And this is again what we uphold. So many act like they don't know. I told you, it's two types of people that are dangerous. The ones that know and don't talk about it, and the ones that don't know shit and be out here talking and yapping. Again, from experience, as a darker man, I was telling someone, I said, you're not finna just portray me as, oh, I gotta be an athlete or I gotta rap and all like this. No, because the Most High gave me gifts, many gifts. If we're made in the image, if we can do miracles, I am a miracle. I am a fucking miracle. I was hit by a car when I was younger and survived and lived through it. I had been in places near-death experiences. I am a miracle. I am the miracle. No one can tell me different. I am a miracle. Your life is a miracle. You are a miracle. You hold a vibration of a miracle. You are miraculous. But who has told you differently? The world? Your pastor? Preacher? Someone? Who has told you? It made me question, like, let's get into this breaking down this religion shit. Why, if we're made in the image of God, why does another character has to be upheld higher than our own self? For women, I want you to just question yourself with this. Why aren't you given a feminine character that is upheld so you can see the empowerment within yourself? Why are you given naturally a masculine figure? Or, because we have masculine and feminine principles, but why are you given this figure in the physical sense of a man? Nothing that empowers you as a woman. Ask yourself that. Because we as men, if you ask me, it's a little egotistical. Like I was telling people, I don't know nobody that is of a lighter shade that has a character. I was just talking to someone else about this. I said, he was like, he's a lighter shade. And he was like, yeah, so-called Jesus was Middle Eastern. I'm like, okay. So you saying he was darker? Yeah. Okay, so why don't you tell that to why aren't you, not that you have to, you're not obligated, but if you know this, I told you 2 types of people that are dangerous. If you know this, why aren't you expressing this? And this is not about a superiority. Let me make that very clear. This is not about anybody being superior. We're talking about science, because mitochondrial gene is just the fact that we are all of different shades. That's it. But the bigger picture is that how has structured religion, internalized racism, structural racism has been used purposely to devalue people, humanity, in all cultures and religions. Because above all things is what I'm giving y'all is truth. I don't give a fuck what you teaching out here. I don't care what you teaching. Above all things is truth. And this is what's happening. All the falsehoods are falling apart. We know about his story, but what about her story? I asked y'all this. What about her story? Why we don't know if there was a character? Why isn't there anything, or has been, and this is the rise of the divine feminine, energetically in people, such as myself and others that are aware of this, that are coming into their awakening spiritually? Because the feminine and masculine is energies, right? We have been given more in a more masculine sense, or the wounded masculine sense of bloody, gruel, war, all this other shit in the last 100 years of what man has betrayed. But what's also been hidden too is the wounded masculinity in the women, matriarchally, and both the men and patriarchal. So don't think that just because you haven't seen certain things, there are women who have been hidden, that has been exposed, who have played a major role in the wounded masculinity. The wounded masculinity is a part of both matriarchal and patriarchal. And what gives birth to the masculine energy? They're one and the same, the feminine. So when you see wounded masculine, there is still a wounded feminine. And this is why a lot of mothers, the wound, this is why a lot of your mother wounds are being highlighted right now. This is why a lot of you feeling so emotionally disturbed, or things are coming up right now. So much emotion, so much anger, so much repressed emotions and memories of what you experienced with your mothers or what you experienced with your grandmothers. Yeah, I wouldn't be who I am. I'm just a messenger. That's it. Like I said, that wounded feminine and masculine shows up differently in everybody. Everyone. This is that suppressed. You have been suppressed. You have had suppressed memories that your grandmother and all them. Oh, okay, I'm going to say that then. I need to say that. Your suppressed memories and your repressed memories and your repressed emotions, your repressed memories and emotions has a lot to do with your great-grandmothers, your grandmas, the daughters, all of them that were slaughtered. They were chiefs. I'm talking about the matriarchal. They were chiefstess. They had chiefdoms. Not just your kingdoms and queendoms. They had chiefdoms. There were women. Y'all keep fucking forgetting that when you look around the world, there are always women outnumbering men. How isn't the matriarchal as important, not as important, but important and vital as the patriarchal? If they give birth to all of us. And so again, you mothers, like I be telling y'all, hold y'all accountable. Y'all have wounded masculinity, father issues, father wounds, but you also cannot ignore your mother wounds. A lot of you did not have emotional support. And you got to talk about over hundreds of years span of what your mother, her grandmother, her great-grandmother, you talk about generations. When you go back 7 generations. When you go back generations, what did your mother go through? What did her mother go through? You talking about them living through timelines and lifetimes of shit that did not encourage you to lean on your intuition, to love yourself, to honor yourself, to nurture yourself. It was the opposite of what femininity really means, to really be empowered, to be unapologetically you. Y'all didn't take no shit. You did have some grandmas in them now. They didn't take no shit. And how you think this feminine, this rise of the divine feminine is coming in within us all? I'm not taking no shit. Because guess what? I don't just look, I represent the patriarchal. but the matriarch will run through my blood. And these are the great grandmas and great grandmas, the ancients. They don't take no shit. And you think they was afraid? Afraid of what? Hey, he crazy, yeah. Y'all, I always tell y'all women, y'all are coming to the forefront right now. Y'all are here to establish, ooh, let me stretch, shit coming out. Y'all are here to establish the new generations. Are you either inspiring the new generations, or you either just a bridge to fucking it up continually, another fucking loop of dysfunction. Just what it is. You either inspiring, and truthfully, even when you think that if some of you, even if you're not consciously aware, you still have an effect on them. And where y'all at holding these so-called celebrity, any other body accountable? If you really love yourself and love your kids, you would not allow them to be inspired or influenced by these folks that, again, that won't even have access to this new world that we created. Where y'all at? I'm calling you out. Where y'all at? Y'all got daughters and all this other stuff. I can't do nothing with. Yes, you can. It starts with you. It starts with you being transparent and honest. Not saying, oh, I fucked up, daughter, I did it. No, it's just about the accountability. Like, look, baby, I don't have conversations with my daughter. I don't care if she's 3 or not. I don't sit down and look, daddy angry. Daddy ain't going through stuff that has nothing to do with you. That's how you be transparent. You tell your kids and you let them know, like, look, what I'm going through right now has nothing to do with you. I'm doing my very best. And they won't ever complain about you showing up as your best. Because I told you they come in truth until they fucking corrupted by this world. They come in truth. What Earth, Wind, and Fire said, a child is born with a heart of gold until the world turns them cold. And a lot of you are that close where the world wants to turn you cold. Telling you, not me. I was close. The world wanted to turn me cold. Yeah, it did if I allow it. If I allowed it. But I didn't. I didn't allow it. I didn't have to. I'm telling you, a lot of us are right there. This is your message. Fathers too, you too. All that ego you in. I'm gonna tell you the greatest thing that I was given was to see life. See the life that I was given, and then to see life be reborn through the fact of seeing your kids. That's you being rebirthed in a masculine or feminine aspect. They both have masculine and feminine principles, but the little boy, of course, is more of a masculine aspect. Not to say he don't have femininity because he comes from his mother, but it's like to see that. I was telling my partner, I said, how in the fuck do people take advantage of that? And don't think that when you leave or whatever you do is not going to have an effect on them. It don't matter. It's going to have an effect. I challenge y'all, man, to take care of yourself, but also men. Like, bro, that is a beautiful thing. I know you hurting inside. That's all you need to do, bro, is heal your mother, your fucking mom, your mother wounds. And once you do that, you will see the importance of where life comes from in the feminine aspect, how life blossoms. And for you women, that's all it is. They have a disconnect to their femininity. And it's not about how you trying to tell them how to be. Because a lot of you are so in your masculinity that is wounded. You operate in a wounded masculinity. So how you going to tell him how to be feminine? Because your wounded masculinity mirrors your wounded femininity. Same thing with men. They operating, it seems like they're so more emotional or hypersensitive. Yes, because they have a wounded femininity. And then what does that give birth to? Their actions, how they assert things, operate through a wounded masculinity. So their actions showing you like they're wounded, they're hurting. But before y'all point out like, oh, I know you hurting, I apologize, y'all don't listen. His actions and what he's saying, because his assertiveness, who he is, because naturally we're logic and we assert things through action. His words and his actions, whether what he's doing or not doing has a lot to do with his fucking woundedness as a man, wounded masculinity. I'm giving y'all gems so you realize, like, stop beating yourself up, and most importantly, not even just stop beating yourself up. It's like you don't need to. You don't need to beat yourself up. You don't need to keep thinking like you got to beat yourself up over the fact of what you did not have. A lot of us, millions of us, did not have a mother and or father that was present. Or even if they were present physically, they wasn't present mentally. They did not have a society or generation that loved them, that honored them. They have militant backgrounds. They still dealing with, some may call it PTSD, or they still dealing with mental disorders because they still trying to process the fact of what they saw, being away from their family, feeling the shame and guilt of, and even believing that, even their mind, even telling themselves that there was justification in that. Some of them know that they dealt with unalive innocent people, or coming to the realization like they some of them really have shame and guilt that they threw their life away for the money, for whatever it is. They were pushed to be in environments or instead careers and positions that did not care about their well-being. Then when they came home and they felt like they took care of everything, they did everything, they still had a woman that was wounded. This is where our grandmas and great-grandmas, they were wounded. So guess what? She already felt like he abandoned her, and then she already got abandonment issues from her father. And guess what? The fucking cycle continues, yo. She already got abandonment issues. Grandma and great-grandma already got abandonment issues within. So then that leads them to abandon themselves emotionally. Then she abandons her partner, her husband, or whatever else, spouse emotion. Then they stay in it 30, 40 years, 50 years. You had grandmas and grandpa staying this shit so long, looping through the same cycle. And then here it is, we don't inherit it, the same thing. Trauma bonding. Come on now. Now we left to clear the karmic debt. And we have the ability to. And we will do it. You will get through it. I didn't say it was gonna be easy, but it's gonna be worth it. I did not say it was gonna be easy, but it will become more easier. Because you'll be able to recognize who you are, and you'll be able to recognize the woundedness in other people. So, yeah. Come on, man. Like, it's where the integrity in that? Holding each other accountable, holding ourselves accountable. Where's the integrity in that? Huh? I'm gonna leave y'all with that. Peace and blessings. Shalom.